Welcome back to Notes Edition, where I read notes off of my phone. Today's note is called Gresham's Law and Nano. What is Gresham's Law and how does it relate to cryptocurrency? In short, Gresham's Law is the idea that bad money drives out good money. Gresham's Law refers to the tendency of humans to spend money of lesser value first and hold on to money of greater value for a longer period of time. Valuable items get removed from circulation first. In the produce aisle, for example, the best looking apples get removed from the basket first. If you're a coin collector, you're more likely to spend out your common coins and hold onto the coins with a rare year or a high silver content. Gresham's Law might have only been intended to refer to currencies of equal face value, but what if this concept applied in other ways as well? For instance, one of my favorite currencies that never really gained traction is Nano. When I started getting into Nano years ago, it seemed like a great economic model. What's not to love? Instant transactions, zero transaction fees, zero inflation, so all the coins are out in circulation, and Nano is more private than most digital transactions. So why would other currencies outpace Nano in growth? For instance, Bitcoin is slower than Nano, it's more expensive than Nano, and it has a 10% of its supply left to be released, which means slight inflation over the next 100 years. So why would Bitcoin be better than Nano? I think one contributing factor is game theory. To spur adoption, you first need attention, then sustained engagement through incentives such as Bitcoin mining rewards. Nano had a short-lived tap-to-mine protocol to distribute the token, kind of like a proof of not much work protocol. But the price chart on Nano shows that after the token distribution and initial wave had passed, the overall trend is pointing downward. I'm still a bit stumped as to why Nano didn't find more adoption, but over the past few years I've been thinking maybe Nano is too good at being money, but not good enough at holding a sustained incentive structure. It hasn't caught on as a language despite the fact that its tokenomics appear to be superior to any other cryptocurrency. Nano might be better suited as an automated payment system between computers, kind of like the IOTA protocol, or between banks than it is between consumers. Lack of community is both a result of diminishing incentives and a cause of diminishing development, which leads us to the next reason Nano is lagging behind other currencies. The final reason Nano can't seem to compete comes down to development. Bitcoin is designed to be open source code, which allows for the markets to decide what new developments and upgrades are rendered to the network, and which modifications are forked off into a new spin-off currency. It's like, yeah, maybe Nano's blueprints are superior on paper, but you can't compete with the entire world actively working on one Tower of Babel. Between short-lived game incentives, lack of community, and lack of development, Nano might be an odd example of Gresham's Law, a technically great form of money that is driven out of circulation. Everyone who holds Nano most likely doesn't spend it or trade it very often, which is actually necessary for price discovery to occur and for the language and perception of value to emerge. For any currency to retain value, it needs an active community willing to bargain against it. Sadly, because Nano is money, the only thing to do with it is stack it or sell it. The core function of money is a language of perceived value, and if no one is speaking your language, no one can trade with you. If your language holds no meaning to anyone else, it won't be recognized as language. In principle, I still really enjoy the idea of Nano, and yet it might not have what it takes to overcome Gresham's Law. And that's today's note.